Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today we're talking Carlos King versus Dr. Heavenly from Married to Medicine. So as you guys know, Carlos King is like all about Bravo shows and reviewing those shows and going toe-to-toe with people on those shows. While ignoring Love and Marriage Huntsville. And so basically, Dr. Heavenly and Carlos King went viral because on their recap the other night about, Married to Medicine, Heavenly is not happy with Carlos King and calls him biased, right? Because she felt that his surprise interview with Quad at Quad's home was, him, completely letting Quad, have the floor and say what she wanted to say and all these other things. And she feels that he is biased, right? And so then Carlos flips it and is like, well, nobody can, get anything out because you always overtalk people. And then asks Dr. Heavenly why she never holds Jackie accountable. And so, here's the thing. Two things can be true. And then Dr. Heavenly says she's never told a lie. I don't know why people say that they've never told a lie. You've told a lie at some point in time, right? Whether it was an embellishment of the truth, whether it was a flat out lie, whether it was something you misspoke about. There is no such thing as somebody being 100% truthful about every single aspect of everything, you guys. It is literally impossible. That's like saying you're perfect. And there's no such thing, right? We all have our flaws. We all have our mistakes. We all have areas of improvement, right? But Dr. Heavenly is right that Carlos King is biased, right? I find it funny, he was going on and on about all of the reality stars that he has interviewed, and he even brings up Nene Leakes, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. The same Nene Leakes that you decided to have a legacy Real Housewives of Atlanta former housewives on that talk show of yours, and every single OG and everything else that you can think of the earlier seasons of Real Housewives of Atlanta were there. Except for Nene Leakes, right? But you're not biased, right? Or when you see chaos ensuing all the time, the onslaught of bullying and mistreatment and the lies and the slander that Melody Cherie Rogers experiences on a regular basis on the show, both by trolls and haters and her own ex-husband and cast members of her own show, you're completely mute. But then when press rolls around for you to promote a new season, then you decide to be like, oh yeah, I'm a supporter of millimeter, and the King and the Raindrops, we're one, we're united, blah 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 blah. But you don't say that any other time, right? Because you don't care. like let's go for what it is. You do not care, right? Because if you did, a lot of things would have changed with Love and Marriage Huntsville a long time ago, right? Now, I'll give you your credit and your props for, what you did for the glory seasons of Real Housewives of Atlanta before it got completely dark, toxic, and nasty at the end, right? At the end of your tenure. But ultimately, there's a price, right? Because instead of continuing to make good reality TV, and all of the shows, they all seem to have the same fate, which is going down this gutter, path. It is clear that there is division in the group. So even though this is supposed to be an ensemble cast on all these reality shows, it ends up being somebody against the world or somebody trying to be iced out of the show every single time, right? People's heads and their egos get so big because they're feeling themselves of all the hype that they're getting on social media. If they say something messy and then they try to change up the following season and try to pretend to be something they're not so that they don't get any backlash. And how many times has Dr. Heavenly spoken out of turn or said something that wasn't true about somebody, right? But certain people are afraid to call her out. Certain people are afraid to go toe to toe with her, so they just ignore her, right? Or keep it moving, right? But I just find it funny, Carlos King, the audacity, right? Because you are biased, right? You are. You're biased. You show favoritism to certain people. You know, certain people I've noticed, like with Candy and even Melody Shree Rogers, the people who are go-getters that don't need to depend on you for whatever reality show they're on, you treat them differently. I've noticed that, right? That if they are making moves on their own, if they're securing other businesses and other contracts on their own and they don't need the reality show anymore, although they're going to stay on the reality show as long as the check comes in, you start to feel a certain way. And then all of a sudden we start to see, you know, a complete change in the edit of how they're being portrayed, right? And it happens every single time. Look through all of his previous shows and you will see what I'm talking about. So Heavenly is not wrong on that point, right? And yes, there's a certain way to, you know, different people have different ways of how they're going to conduct interviews. But I just find it interesting, the energy that Carlos King had when Dr. Heavenly called him out. And I was like, oh, I see where this is going. I see what this is about, right? And because you could tell that Carlos King felt a certain type of way. But a lot of she didn't say anything that nobody else hasn't said over the years. That's what's so funny, right? And because you know that social media, you know, is rallying behind Quad, you know, you're trying to, you know, swoop in, get the exclusive at the height of whatever's trending at Bravo, which I find to be hilarious. I find absolutely to be hilarious that whatever is trending at Bravo, you seem to be at the forefront of trying to get the exclusive interview and everything else, but yet you stay mute on Love and Marriage Huntsville, right? You know, heck, even Bell Collective gets more promo at this point than Love and Marriage Huntsville. The only shout out Love and Marriage Huntsville got was them being renewed for a 7th season. and then that was it. And then it was crickets, you guys. It was absolute crickets and back to Bravo, as if he still is employed there, right? But, you know, you have to treat everybody the same. You have to give everybody a chance, you know, when you are giving people these opportunities, right? And the problem is, you know, certain people that you do not want to be the breakout star, you feel a certain way about. And then you try to push other people who are not the main factor, who are not the main character, who are not who people are tuning in to see. You try to push them upon us, even going as far as to storylines that don't make sense or allegedly are fake. And you put them in place of the screen time of the person that we want to see. You try to diminish their screen time because you feel a certain type of way about their popularity. But the fans clock everything, though. The fans clock who you choose to interview and who you don't interview, right? The fans clock how long you've held a grudge with certain housewives and how you've been let bygones with others if it was an opportunity to get a sit-down interview with them, right? But again, we can't just pick and choose, you know, when we want to play like we're fair, we're humble, and all of these things. There's a difference, I think, when you're talking about interviewing. You can still get your questions across on what you want to know, but ultimately you have a choice, right? Because some people in their interviews, they want to hold people accountable, right? But then there's some people who don't want to go there because they have a certain way that they want to approach this interview, to where they don't want the person to feel like they're being ambushed or attacked or whatever, and want to get to the root of some issues and have the floor to explain themselves, right? But ultimately, we all have our own opinions, our own responsibility, our own approaches on how we're going to react and review these shows and how we are going to interview any potential, you know, reality stars or celebrities or whomever, right? But Heavenly wasn't lying about that. She was telling the truth about that, right? I didn't see the lie there, right? So I found that to be interesting, you know, how defensive Carlos King got when Heavenly made that comment and then tried to flip it back that she needed to hold Dr. Jackie accountable. And I was like, wait a minute, like, what are we talking about right now? right? That is her co-worker. You're interviewing people that were at your former place of employment trying to get exclusives. So, of course, you're going to butter them all up. like, can we call it for what it is? Can we call a spade a spade? You're not going to go over there and cuss out Quad for her past behavior or how things fell out with her and Mariah. You're going to take a gentle approach and let her speak her mind, right? So there is that. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.